Still checking if the place still cold. Moving in the way, no place, no snow. Straight chilling with my niggas and shiver. Thinking about South Lake.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Phobia. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing another Vita tutorial. So this one here is going to be for all my developers out there. This is going to be how you actually get your Vita over to a test kit or DEX firmware. So if you're already familiar with PS3, there is CAX, CEX, DEX, and REX, which just allows you to convert between the two. This is going to be a REX/DEX firmware that we're installing on our Vita. This will allow you to do more advanced debugging, as well as installing package files and all sorts of debug options, that sort of thing. If you want a full list of the features before you go through with this, go to the link down below for the CEX to REX. Every link and every download that you will need is down in the description, by the way, as well as the link to the Creation Discord server, where I would be able to provide support if you guys need it. Or if you just want to come say what's up, hang out, do whatever you want to do. But anyway, I'll go ahead and open up this link and scroll down a little bit, and these are all of the features that this has. So if you want to find out if this firmware is for you, this is the page to do it. So the couple things that you're going to need for this before we get started on the Vita is you're going to have to download the DEX firmware or REX for your actual Vita. So I'll show you how to find that in a second. It's very simple, but that's one of the things that you'll need, and the other is going to be this CEX to REX installer. So basically this is a Vita application that will facilitate us installing this modified version, and it will also get us patched to have the activation screen go away. So those are the two things that you're going to need. To get your firmware, go ahead and go to the link in the description that says PS Vita firmwares, and it will take you to a page that looks like this. You'll see PS Vita firmwares at the top, but this is not what we need. These are like the original OFWs. You're going to come up here to PS Vita, and we're going to go to PS Vita Dev Firmwares. Wait for that to load, and this is what you want right here, the test kit firmwares. Do not get the prototype dev kit or dev kit. We're looking specifically for the test kit. If you install the dev kit, it either won't work or it may brick your Vita, so make sure that you go with the test kit. So now you'll see all of these firmware versions, and what we're looking for is whatever version you currently have installed on your Vita. I would only recommend doing this if you were on 3.60 or 3.65, as that's how you can use Enzo, which would allow you to load the plugin for the test kit on boot. Otherwise, you're going to have to boot it whenever you use Hencore or something like that. But basically, go ahead and click through to the next pages until you find what firmware you're on, whether it be 3.60, 3.65, or you can go as high as 3.68. So if you're on 3.60, you're going to basically want to find the one that matches closest to your firmware. So since this one is 3.600.011, this one would be for 3.60, and so on. So go ahead and just click the link right here and it'll download it, and whenever you have it downloaded, just move it to your desktop as well as the file here. So to get the VPK for this, you're just going to scroll down to where it says downloads and click this button here, and it'll download the VPK that you need for the installer. And once you have those moved onto your desktop or somewhere that you can access them, what we're going to do first is rename this pup to dex.pup. So what this is going to do is just allow the installer to find this file later, and that's how it's going to be able to know which firmware to install. So next, you're done on your PC for the moment. We're going to head over to our Vita. Let me go ahead and get you guys looking over here. So the first thing that you're going to do on your Vita is open up Vita Shell. So this should be installed if you've installed any CFW on your device, but if you don't have Vita Shell, you can find a link to the VPK online, which you would just install the normal way. Once you're in Vita Shell, go ahead and press Start, which will bring up these settings, and you want to make sure that the select button says FTP. If it says USB like this, press either circle or X, depending if you have a US or Japan model, and change it to FTP. Once you're on FTP, you can press X to back out of that, or circle, depending on your model again. And once we're out of that, you can press select on our Vita, and it will open up the FTP server. This is all you needed to do on your Vita for now. Just make sure that it stays on and you can see this FTP screen. Now we're going to head back to the PC, and we're going to open up a file transfer program or an FTP program. So the one that I recommend for this is FileZilla. Once again, I'll have the link for all these down in the description below, and we're going to enter that IP that we saw on our Vita. So that is going to be everything after the FTP:/. So mine would be 192.168, just like that. And then we're going to head over to the port, and you're going to put whatever was after the colon. The default is 1337. Then you're going to go ahead and click Quick Connect, and either that or connect in whatever program you're using for this. And the first thing that we're going to want to do is head into UX0. This is going to be where we're going to put this dex.pup so that it can be accessed later. So go ahead and just take this file and drag it into the root of UX0, and we're going to wait for that to upload. I'll go ahead and be back with you guys once it's done. Alright, now that this is finishing up, now that it's finished, and we can see that the dex.pup is in our UX0 directory, not UR0. You want to make sure it's in UX, because that's where the application will look for it. Once it's there, we're going to go ahead and scroll back up to data, or wherever you put your VPK files. I just put them in data, and we're going to drag that CEX to Rex into our data folder. I already have it, so it's going to overwrite it. That's fine. Just go ahead and make sure that that's in there. Disregard this PSP to update. This was for a downgrade earlier. This is not needed for the tutorial. Alright, so now once you're done with that, we're going to head back over to our Vita. Alright, so now that we're back over on the Vita, we're going to go ahead and close out of the FTP server by clicking X. And now we're going to go in Vita Shell to the directory that you copy that VPK to. Mine was in data. I'm already in data, so I'm just going to scroll down to the kex to Rex, hit install, install it. And you can see it requests extra permissions. Just say yes. That's pretty standard for all homebrew. And we're going to wait for this to install. Should only take a couple seconds, and it's done. So now we're going to go ahead and go back to the live area, scroll down to where that was just installed. You can see the kex to Rex right here. We're going to launch this application. And now it will say install test kit firmware. So now you're just going to click X to install, and it's going to start the process. It's going to extract for a little bit, and then it's going to come back to a message. Once I get back to that message, I'll be right back with you guys. Alright, so eventually you should come to this screen. It should only take about 2 minutes or so, depending on whether you're using a memory card or SD to Vita, but that's about how long it took for me. Once you get to this screen, this is going to be the installation type. So we have a couple options here. First is going to be full install, which is going to be the spoofer, activator, and the test kit VSH, which is going to be the activator as well, so it doesn't show the warning message that says your test kit isn't activated. If you want that message for whatever reason, press circle. That one will be if you want that message to prove you're on a dev kit or test kit or whatever. Otherwise, you can press square for an EnzoList install. Basically, that will load the plugin when you actually load up Hencore or whatever. But once again, I would not actually recommend using the EnzoList install for this one. I would recommend using full Enzo, so you can downgrade if you're on 3.73. I would fully recommend that over just installing it on Hencore, just so you don't have any crashes or instability. And if you press triangle, you can also change it in between a PSTV and a Vita if you have that. But by default, it's on Vita, so we're not going to touch that. I'm going to do the full install, so I'll press X. And you can see it starts decrypting the pup. So now from this point forward, you do not want to restart your Vita. This is going to be a relatively long process. It should take anywhere between probably 5 to 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but make sure you do not restart your Vita and that it is over halfway charged at least, if not fully charged. If your Vita shuts down while this is installing, you very well could brick. So just keep that in mind while you're doing it, and just keep an eye on it, make sure that it doesn't die or anything like that, and wait for this to finish. Once you get done with this, if you have SD to Vita, I have heard that you have to reinstall the plugin for, and you can see that we're actually patching the VS0 now, which is good. We're going to be about probably another 5 minutes or so. But once you're done, if your memory card is not inserted, if you're using SD to Vita or something like that, you most likely will not have your homebrew apps. You will have to re-set up your storage manager or your SD to Vita plugin, whichever you have. I have a tutorial on that as well if you need it. But basically, if you have a Vita 2K with internal storage or something like that, you don't have to worry about it. You're all good. But if you're using SD to Vita, you're going to have to reset everything up. So just keep that in mind and keep an eye on your console, and I'll be back once this is done. Okay, so after a while, that would be about 20 minutes or so, give or take, is about what it took. Maybe go faster or slower, once again, depending on your memory card and everything like that. But it should say flash complete. Your console is now a test kit. And then it will, after about 30 seconds or so, reboot your console. And it should reboot your database like so. Or rebuild your database, sorry about that. But once this is complete, like so, we can go ahead and load into the Vita, and this should now have all of the test kit options. So we'll go ahead and unlock it real quick. So as you can see, I did not do anything special. My SD to Vita just works. So if you do have your SD to Vita already set up and all of your plugins and everything, my screen recorder works. It did not mess with my plugins at all. So you may or may not need to worry about that. But as you can see, we now have package installer. So you can go ahead and start this up and install any sort of, you can install non-DRM packages from the PlayStation Store, or you can install fake packages or anything like that once this loads up. So yeah, you can go ahead and install packages through there, and you've also got some other cool stuff like mini settings for QA, and you can do debug settings, and this is where all of your system information will be. You can do a lot of cool stuff with this, guys, but just go ahead and play around and look at the features on the Bitbucket page to find more information about the features that this does have. But you are all set from this point, and just for the shits and giggles, we'll go ahead and go into my settings application. Sorry, it rebuilt my database. I didn't know where it moved it to. If we look at the system info, you can actually see, I was just curious what it would show, but we actually do no longer have a system software version. So that's kind of interesting. I just thought that might be cool to see. I was on 3.60 OFW previously, or well, CFW, I guess. But we are now effectively on our on our DEX system, so you guys can start your debugging or whatever you wanted to do. If you had any sort of issues with this or you need support, feel free to join the Discord down below and I'll be able to help you out. My name's Phobia in the Discord, as always. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!